So a bit of a unfortunate topic today. Wendy Williams has gotten dementia.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to ask you, do you believe that dementia is able to be reversed?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially in her case because it's early.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, very unfortunate thing. Her past indicates that she was a drinker,
Yeah.
and alcohol absolutely affects the brain. Absolutely. Not only that, but it is reported that she was vegan or vegetarian these last however many years, eating the fake meats.
Yeah.
And you'd have to assume that she was on a statin drug.
Absolutely. So I did a bit of research into like her story, and apparently when she was growing up, she was actually obese, and apparently, her trying to, break into the radio world or the TV host world. She wanted to be on TV, but most of them were like, you don't have to look. So
Right.
not only her whole life, she was ridiculed for being overweight. Then she gets into the industry she wants to do. And
Right.
I feel like that can probably lead to
Absolutely.
low fat diets and such.
Right.
So,
Right. And she's old enough to have really lived through the 80s
yeah.
and 90s where the medical monopoly and the marketing systems really, really pushed that narrative to us.
Mm-hmm.
Low fat, eat margarine instead of butter, things like this, which is we know now is just a really, really bad decision.
Yeah.
Our brains need fat. Our brains need cholesterol. And so when we bring our cholesterol low, which is what a statin drug does, we're now starving the brain. And when you starve the brain, it shrinks.
Yeah.
So there's all these factors that go into it. And she has FTD.
Mm-hmm.
So FTD means your personality gets altered, right? Alzheimer's is more of a forgetful thing. Alzheimer's is like you forget. You would forget your family, forget everyone. FTD is more personality change. So you can become violent. You could become a criminal. You are essentially a risk to society.
Really?
Yeah, with FTD.
Wow.
So Bruce Willis got diagnosed with the same condition.
Do you think he had the same type of background as well?
Yeah.
Most likely.
Yeah, more than likely. Another drinker,
Mm-hmm.
another statin drug person. Yeah.
That's just tragic.
It's an epidemic, man. Like everyone's just so concerned with the sea monster.
Yeah. Yeah.
That they're forgetting, no pun intended, about dementia.
The D monster.
Dementia's worse than the sea monster.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? Because you become a burden on your whole family.
Yeah.
With the sea monster, you still have your right mind. With the D monster, with dementia, you're becoming someone else. In most cases, you're reverting back to being a child.
Yeah. I saw that in my grandma. I remember a couple of times I was in the hospital and I would just hear dementia patients yelling at the top of their lungs for help.
Yep.
For hours.
Yep.
It's like, that's like causing a toll on the nurses because, like everybody, it disturbs the whole piece. It's like, who is yelling for help? Like, that's a scary thing.
Right.
Like screeching.
Right.
And I feel like I want to phrase this carefully because, you've done so many dementia posts before, and the main response for some, not the main response, but some people, like outliers, would phrase would basically say, "Oh yeah, well my grandma lived until 90 and she was on she got on statins and stuff like that." And I'm like, I think we're just in another time period.
Yeah.
It's not the same. Like Wendy Williams would be the example of someone who grew up in the era that low fat and
80s and 90s.
Exactly.
80s and 90s.
And we're starting to see that.
Right.
This is the example of somebody who followed the medical system as it was supposed to be followed.
Right.
Up until...
And Bruce Willis too, because Bruce Willis is probably 10 years older.
Yeah.
So Bruce Willis is probably around 70. Wendy Williams is about 60. Right?
Yeah.
And then there was Robin Williams, who had Lewy body, which is another form of dementia. And he was, I believe, 65. Of course, he took his own life because he saw where it's going.
Yeah. I just can't even recognize the world anymore. It must be scary.
Well, yeah. Well, with Lewy body, you get hallucinations.
Really?
Yeah. See, like I've been teaching, the brain is a computer and it's sectioned off. So if you start getting plaque or you start getting what's called tangles or it starts shrinking, it depends on the area that it happens. So one area would be Alzheimer's. Another area would be FTD. Another area would be Lewy body, you know. So it all depends on where it happens. Very similar to the sea monster. You know, if it happens in the bones, it's bone cancer. If it happens in the breast of a woman, it's breast cancer. You know, it depends on where it is. Same thing with dementia.
Same condition, just in different areas.
Pretty much. Yeah. Pretty much. Not exactly, but pretty much. And I think you see that people with that do alcohol get FTD a lot because that's the executive function right up front, frontal F. So, you know, someone with FTD could. It's kind of like someone on the spectrum with autism, in a way. They can kind of wander off and get into some trouble, but kind of innocently. FTD is like that. Someone could get in their car, go to the grocery store, walk into the grocery store and start throwing food at people. Or even worse, start doing sexual things or being a nuisance. Yeah. And you're going to be like, what do people say in society? That person's crazy.
They lost their head.
They're crazy. No, they have a brain condition. Yeah. The computer is short-circuiting. That's what it is. It's a short circuit. And so to reverse it, like I talk about in Reverse the Cause, you have to do the opposite. Yeah. So you got to get that cholesterol in. You got to get that fat in. You got to get off the statin drugs. You got to get off the alcohol. You got to get off pretty much all sugar, maybe with the exception of a little fruit. And then you got to get on certain supplements and start building it back. Yeah. But it's such a scary thing that people don't take the risk. We don't get a lot of it. We get people inquiring, right? And they'll come all the way up to the edge. They'll get on the phone with us, right? And they're like, "Oh, I really want to," but they don't jump.
Because most likely it's not on them though. They're like trying to drag somebody else in.
The medical monopoly has their claws in them.
Yeah,
and it's scary. So they're like, "What way am I going to go?" And the medical monopoly doesn't offer anything, but they're very convincing with, well, this is what we're going to do. Boom, 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 boom. And they're like, all right, well, I guess we just got to do this. And the person ends up in a home.
You think there's a point that it's ever too late?
I don't think it's ever too late. I think even if someone was 90 years old, at the very least, they would see improvement. At the very least. Yeah. So Wendy Williams, this is an unfortunate case, but it's a teachable moment. Like I said when I put out the video earlier last week, you know, I don't want to exploit celebrities. There's a lot of people out there with FTD and Alzheimer's and Lewy body, and the whole family is affected. But when a celebrity gets it, it's just a teachable moment. It's a very teachable moment that, hey, we got to turn this around, or we're going to have a really, really bad time going on here in society. We can't have people walking around with brain conditions. Yeah. We already see what's going on with autism. When I was a kid, there was no autism. I mean, maybe here and there, but like now,
yeah,
where there's whole schools, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Something's wrong. And if it doesn't get turned around, I can't speak for other countries, but American society is going to go down the tubes. We need our brains. That's what's going to keep the economy going. That's what's going to keep crime down. Like, we can't just be walking around with brain conditions.
Yeah.
We're missing nutrition. Everyone's got forward head. That's another thing that can contribute to a dementia or brain condition. That forward head, you know, like I always do on the discovery analysis, I'll show the person's cervical spine forward, and now they can't drain, right? All that spinal fluid isn't draining. So, yeah. You know, you see movies or TV shows, or you think about even the Batman universe with like the Joker and the insane asylum and all that type of stuff, that these are people with brain conditions.
Yeah.
They hype it up for the sake of Hollywood, but scientifically it's just people with brain conditions and a lot of people missing key minerals. If you don't have enough minerals, then you're not able to handle stress and things like that.
Yeah.
So I do not think that our ancestors had a lot of brain conditions. It was probably like 1 in a million.
We have the proof. We have people from the early 90s that are living up until 190. Like, they went, they're living up to this essentially disease free. And then you can go like to some secluded island, some remote island, somewhere you find the same thing, the blue zones. And then you get to America, people are struggling to get to 70. Like, they're blessed if they get to 70.
Right. If you took the medical monopoly away, they would have died at 50.
Yeah. Something's got to be.
Yeah. Yeah. But the medical monopoly, they're making so much money. So much money. You know, and I think doctors and nurses are starting to wake up a little bit to a certain degree. And they're like, oh my gosh, what am I a part of here? We're not helping these people. All we're doing is we're facilitating a subscription plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
A subscription plan for drugs, a subscription plan for nursing homes, a subscription plan for come in and use our x-ray machine or MRI. And it's just over and over and over again, subscription plans everywhere.
Yeah.
And people say that Netflix was the category creator. No. The medical monopoly was the category creator.
Yeah.
Before magazines.
That's a good point.
So here we are, Peace Over Pain Clinic, a rescue team.
Yeah.
Trying to get people out of the hole. So we do have a brain program, but there's not people lining through out the door like there should be.
No.
Wendy Williams, in a perfect world, would be with us.
Yeah.
And we would give her, at the very least, the best shot to recover.
Yeah.
That's what I like to tell people, because everyone's looking for a guarantee. You can't give a guarantee. But what are your options? What are your legit options? And I feel that we give people the best option to reverse that brain condition. So it just takes a little courage.
Yeah.
And a little trust. Otherwise, you're going to end up with the medical monopoly on a subscription plan. No progress.
Yeah. The opposite.
As they milk and milk and milk that insurance money.
Yeah.
Sad story. Dementia's about as sad as it gets.
Yeah. It's just, imagine, because she has kids, and imagine you're the son of Wendy Williams or whatever.
Imagine the burden it puts on the kids is astronomical.
They don't recognize you as their child.
Right.
It's like,
right.
It's got to be tough.
Yeah. And one of our clients, Linda, her mother had Alzheimer's.
Mm-hmm.
And she took care. She didn't put her in a home. She took care of her.
Wow.
And she went through all that. And it's in our brain program. I interviewed her and got her perspective on everything.
Yeah.
You know, it's about as hard as it gets. You know, when your own family member doesn't know who you are and hits you.
Yeah. And gets physical with you.
Hits you, and you can't take it personal. You're just like, all right, they're just going to smack me. You know?
Yeah.
So, I guess.
Yeah.
How do we end this on a high note?
Wendy Williams, if you ever see this, we can help you.
Yeah.
Any family member that sees it, we can help Wendy Williams. We want to.
And Bruce Willis.
Anybody with dementia. Give us a chance. We have we have everything you need. And as you said, like, what other option is there? See them progressively get worse until you don't recognize them anymore and they don't recognize the world. Imagine walking in a world that you don't recognize.
Scary. A nightmare.
Well, we're the rescue team.
Yeah.
Jumpstart your head-to-toe healing journey with the Dr. Reese book trilogy. Peace Over Pain is the cult classic that explains how head-to-toe healing works and how the medical monopoly doesn't. Reverse the Cause lays out the root causes to over 60 chronic conditions. And Dinner with Dr. Reese is a unique cookbook that contains 100 recipes without the destructive pour for foods. Together, all 3 books set you on a path to head-to-toe healing. Get yours today on Amazon, Audible, or peaceoverpain.com. Also, if you'd like to ask a question, tune in every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern for Dr. Reese Live.